want to dive into it all, but let me ask you, why now? What was it that made this the perfect moment for you to leave your job and ultimately go full time into, we would have called your side hustle, and now we'll just call your hustle, your thing?
Yeah, it is my hustle now. The side hustle has become the hustle. It's an interesting question, the perfect moment. And I think it was the perfect moment for me because of evidence as well as imperfection. So those were the two reasons. So it wasn't a perfect moment as such. So let me take that on first. It was imperfect because after like 14 years in our automotive career, loving it and that affording us all this beautiful life that we have, a lot of career success. And I had started as an entry level engineer at this amazing company, became a partner at that company. The founding partner decided to kind of move away from the company last year. So that kind of became a force function for me. So it was in a way an imperfect moment because I would have loved a runway of a year or two more because automotive engineering is going through this flux of which technology are we going to use? Are we going to stick with engines? Is EV? Everybody is just confused. And we were in advanced engineering. It had become a tough business, at least in my eyes.
Yeah.
So the option was continue to run that business as now the new founding partner, or get a job in the automotive industry, or do something of my own. And that's where the second reason came in, that do something of my own. I had evidence that last year from the side hustle, I had earned half of my engineering salary by putting in about 20 to 30 hours of my week. So the thought was, can I take a sabbatical or a break from automotive engineering? Because I knew it was a bit of time. I was losing passion for it, and see whether this can sustain us as a family, but then even grow, because the whole intention of starting a side hustle was to scale my income and not have the income be attached to the hours that I was putting. So in a way, this perfect moment was 10 years in the making.
Incredible. And I think with that, though, have you already made that leap, or are you in the process of making that leap?
I have already made the leap.
Okay.
The reason why I might have been softer in saying that is because the jury's still out, just like any entrepreneurship venture.
On a
The
tiny
jury's
bit.
still
Yeah.
out.
Yeah, I got it. That makes sense. You always know if something, came to it, you have options. But in this scenario, I think, as you said, if you were making half from what would amount to 20, 30 hours a week, arguably, if I did the math and knew what you were probably putting into your other job, it means you should be able to just work 40 to 60 a week, and, you'd be working less hours, but still making, what the income would have been before. So it makes a lot of sense.
And was that the goal from the beginning, Varun? Like, I need to match my salary before I say peace out?
100%. A lot of it came from a mentor. I think Michael mentioned Ramit Sethi. A lot of it came from him, like the guidance of making sure that you are earning equal to your job, or at least as much as you can, before you make the transition completely. Because one thing that nobody tells you is that it just takes a while to first create offers that work. And then when they work a little, you find something that you don't like about it, so you tweak the offer. It's just a process. And I don't think I've still landed on an offer that I think can be a kind of exponential growth curve. So that takes time. So the intention was always, can I get a full-time job salary out of this before I make the switch? But the imperfection of the perfect moment kind of made me decide, okay, let's do this. Had a conversation with my wife. She was on board. And that was a big reason why we jumped in.
And is your offer now that you're doing, is it more of a one-on-one coaching cohort, an actual program with videos? Like, what does it look like?
That's a great point, because this is something that I feel needs to talk about more often, which is if you are starting what I call a knowledge startup, where you are sharing your knowledge to people and helping them go from point A to point B. There are many different vehicles you can use to teach people as well as earn an income. And those vehicles are digital courses, cohorts, coaching. Some of these three are in combo. I did try the digital courses right in the beginning, like 2 years back. And what I realized there was that you need volume, because it's a smaller price product to kind of make a an income equal to your 9 to 5, you need more volume, which you don't have in the beginning. I still don't think I have that. The next one is I
Sorry,
started doing
you.
cohorts.
Sorry to cut you off, Varun. It's interesting you said, because you have a comparison to others. You have a pretty large following on LinkedIn. 75,000 people are kind of listening to you and look at you as a thought leader. But you still think you don't have a big following to do volume sales. Why do you say that? I'm curious.
Typically, 1% of your audience converts into a paying customer. So 75,000 following. I think following, and obviously that 1% does not always match. I think the closer match is 1% of your email subscribers or 1% of your qualified leads actually end up buying your product. So let's even take like 1% of 75,000 is 750. Let's assume 500 as the conversion rate. If I am going to launch a $100 digital course, which right now 100 to 350 is what people would pay for a flat out just digital course without anything else, that's 50,000 bucks. So even at this volume, which 75,000 followers gained across 3 years, some of them kind of are in a different place in their journey. It's hard to make a core digital product work as your only source of revenue for your business.
That's a great way to break it down.
So then we mentioned too, you were mid-thought before. You were talking about the different approaches, trying to remember where you were before. I don't know if you remember either.
Yeah. So I tried courses first. And at that time, I had a 6,000, 7,000 following and on LinkedIn. And that converted into like 6 people bought that product.
All right.
Now, but I think again, you have to just throw offers out there in the beginning.
Yeah.
And that was my first offer. I realized, okay, this needs tweaking. So the next version, I created a coaching product that was helping people, especially students, international students, find jobs in the US. Now that went well. The first launch was, I think, $10,000. At that time, I had a 25,000 following on LinkedIn. And that was where I was like, okay, this cohort thing works. But then I also wanted to try coaching because it is higher priced than cohort. So last year, I transitioned from that one offer I made from cohort into this entire coaching model, because that's the reason why I wanted to say why it's important to share, which is the fastest way to replace your 9 to 5 income often is a coaching product. People are willing to just pay you higher for one-on-one coaching if they vibe with your content, if they think you are helpful. Then people just want, like, okay, help me get through this.
Yeah.
And that's why last year, when I said half of my engineering income, all of that was from one-on-one coaching, either like deep calls and everything, or the other version was just a few calls, but a lot more asynchronous work
Okay.
with people.